Combined strength, eh? Your buddy over here dropped it. Whoa, okay. Oh! Let's go out. Look at this animation. The Sakuga. Ooh, oh my god. Ooh. Ah! Okay, 1-on-1. Kimberly should be impressed.
まったく賢者の石の力は見事なものです。私も使ったことがあるのでよくわかりますよ。それゆえわからない。なぜその力を自分の体を取り戻すために使うのですか。石があれば私たちから逃げることなどはたやすい。逃げ切ったなら石を使い二人で元の体に戻る。それであなたたちの旅は終わりではないのですか。
ああ、the score, classic.
悲願を達成するためです。何かを得るためには何かを切り捨てねばならない。
That's the whole concept, right?
なんで二択なの？元の体に戻るのとみんなを救うの、どっちか一つしか選べないなんて変だろ。
Ideal would be,
なんで
yeah.
元の体を取り戻してかつみんなを救うが選択肢にないんだよ。
等価交換の法則は
原則に縛られずに可能性を求めることも人類の進歩には必要だと思う。
それが実現すれば新たな断りとしてこの世に認められる。ならばもう一つの可能性。
Lose both?
あなた方は戻れず、みんなも救えないという選択肢も用意しなさい。
Oh. Ah, great transition. Sure is. Oh boy. He's... Prepare yourself. Red shirts.
なんだあのでかいのは。
化け物. Oh my god. I mean, they showed that he's deceptively fast, but that was just a different level. Oh, look at the... Great detail. He's got these powerful legs, right?
なんというスピード。
怠惰のスロース。見えたか？
かすかにしか。
Oh.
この重量でこのスピードとは。
いやはや反則だな。
そう、俺。
Oh, of course. Of course he's the fastest. Ha! They'll need an interesting strategy here.
こいつ速すぎて
Okay. Okay. I like that. They grounded a bit.
いい音だ。強い石のぶつかり合いとは、かくも美しき音を奏でるものか。そこ。
Be a decoy.
また目くらましとは芸がない。無駄です。
Hold on, hold on.
匂いで居場所はわかると言ったでしょう。チェックメイトです。
どうかな。ここからが人間のしぶといところさ。
賢者の石があってもたった一人で我々に勝てるわけ。
一人じゃない。
Yeah, I was gonna say, is he alone?
石をどこへ。
まさか
Oh, Hanko!
目的は風向きを知るため。
Here he comes.
後ろから
Oh!
バカな。あの傷でなぜ動ける。
That's why. Oh!
ドクター・マルコ。
Ah! The title of the episode comes into play, doesn't it?
アイスクリーム屋のトラックだ。
Ah, he did it. You can see the markings.
表の荒っぽいことはブリックスの奴らに任せてしまえ。我々は裏のルートを使おう。
Yeah, that's more your
こ
style.
こからは別行動だ。君らは夫人を伴い。
さすがは賢者の石といったところか。
That's the second time someone said that this episode.
足だ。足を狙え。
Yeah, yeah. Oh. Again, perfect use of the ending. Let's go, Alex.
アレックス。何。ただの脱臼です。姉は。
ただの骨折だ。
さっさと殺して寝る。
Oh my god, yeah, I was gonna say, Kimberly took a...
止めた。キンブリーを刺すのをためらった。
君の言う通り人間はしぶとい。しかし君たちは勝てないのです。あそこに我らの父上がいる限りね。
Who's this? Oh, oh my god. Okay, out of context it looks so strange, right?
やってやったぞ。
Yoki!
やってやったぞ。
Let's go!
手足がいいぞ。ジョラヒー。
Ah.
まさか君が来てくれるとは。お前らバカに格好つけさせてたまるかよ。私にも格好つけさせろ、チキショー。
Let's go. Go for you.
このヨク様が最強のホムンクロスに一発かましてやった。
You sure?
かましてやったんだぞ。
Oh.
出せ出せ。
Oh. Yoki, let's go. Everyone gets their time.
勇気ある逃げない人間というのは本当に乗せやすい。
Oh man, is this it?
いい色のスーツになったじゃないですか、
Ugh.
キンブリー。百獣の王とはよく言ったものです。弱肉強食の掟に従ってあっさりと君の喉笛を噛み切ってしまいました。
He can't.
君、
Eh.
世界が何を選ぶのか見てみたいと
I'll show
言
you.
っていましたね。でも心配しないで。君は私の中で
Oh
生き続ける
wow.
のだから。
何がどうなった。アレックス。
Oh.
勝手に突っ込んでくるのですから待ち構えていればよいのです。
貴様らに命令を出している奴が動かしているんだろう。
我々はそのようなことを知らされていない。
貴様らは知らなくとも向こうさんはお構いなしのようだが。
Time to smarten up. Time to make a choice.
どうする？我ら兄弟ならこいつら化け物に対処できるぞ。
しかし
Oh wow. Oh.
さあ 後に化け物の餌食になるか、それとも我らと協力して化け物を撃つか、自分の頭で考えろ。
The question mark?
無駄だよ。こいつら賢者の石を注入された人形兵だからね。
I've missed that voice acting. Okay, who's gonna show up? Who's gonna show up? Woo!
分かってませんね。その人形に大群で来られると厄介ですけど、あなた一人なら逃げるのもたやすい。
Oh man, they keep coming. Yeah, they need someone to show up here. Hohenheim? Yeah. Oh, okay, a Mustang was outside, wasn't he? I didn't realize it was this location. A return to the exact same place. Alright, folks, episode 52. I mean, first of all, that ending, that entrance. Roy Mustang comes to the rescue, right? A return to that location, to that spot. A bit of an iconic spot, really. And again, you know, a bit of a return for Hawkeye as well. A place that could have been her final resting place. A place where she essentially gave up because someone really important to her appeared to have died, right? Then, of course, Roy Mustang makes that entrance as well. You know, going all the way back earlier on in the anime. But yeah, you know, he had to get that pun in, didn't he? Can I lend you a hand? Or can I give you a hand? One or the other. So that group now has Roy Mustang and Hawkeye as well, right? Yeah, that's some group. That's some group. And I just love it. I just love the collection of people that make up these groups and these parties that are kind of scattered all over the place. I mean, not all over the place. They're all kind of close by, close enough to Central. I mean, you see that Pride, yes, you know, he makes it seem like, or it makes it seem like it is chasing them, right? It puts on this show, I suppose, you know, chasing the car, but ultimately, you know, they need Alphonse to go to Central anyways, right? I mean, that last episode really set this up nicely, didn't it? And the payoff in this episode is just spectacular. Oh my goodness. I mean, the direction, right? The masterful use of the transitional hinge in this episode made it such a seamless experience, didn't it? Such an engaging experience, going from one encounter to another. My goodness, that was just beautiful. The presentation of that was just top-notch, top-tier stuff. But yeah, the pacing is just so organic in this episode. Really, really quite enjoyable. But yeah, you know, it's an episode that's full of just incredible moments. Some puzzling moments, some epic moments. Again, you know, that's not a term I like to use too often, but 2 episodes running, it feels like that. It really felt like that. My goodness, Yoki running over Pride is just so poetic. How poetic. And you know, the thing I really loved about that is it actually still felt realistic. He was terrified the entire time. He is just petrified in that moment, isn't he? But true character shines through. He's able to dig deep, right? And be brave in that moment, in the face of fear. I feel like he deserved that moment. He did. You know, as you saw, I was really quite happy because I just wasn't expecting it at all. But to see it and then see his, you know, tearful face, you know, knowing that he is the type of person that he is, this actually makes it so impactful that he was able to dig deep and come in for the rescue. And again, runs down Pride. But again, out of context, it just looks so silly, right? You have this little kid's body just flying through the air. But yeah, it's a great moment. It really is. But you know, ultimately, Pride's fine. You know, they're going towards Central. They need Alphonse to go towards Central anyways, like I said earlier. And then, of course, you have the payoff to one of the most incredible setup moments of the entire show, the entire anime. Of course, you know, I'm speaking of Ao finally making the choice to use the Philosopher's Stone and his entrance, and of course the beautiful ending kicking in as well, right? Oh my goodness, this received all of the treatment it deserved and then some. Oh my goodness, the animation on display, the Sakuga essentially is some of the most beautiful animation of the entire anime, and even more so for a fight sequence. So fluid, so engaging. The camera movement and how impressive was Al out there. So damn impressive. So damn impressive. I mean, I'm sure all of us are kind of like proud parents, you know, proud siblings even, looking at Al out there against Pride and Kimberly, right? It's no joke. It's no joke. Yes, he's got a Philosopher's Stone, but he's still essentially a child, a young adult inside of that suit of armor. But, you know, that being said, you see just how much he's matured, just the growth that he's experienced over the span of the story of this anime, to be in that position. You know, much like Ed has also kind of showcased before in this anime on multiple occasions, Al is pretty much the same, isn't he? He can think quickly on his feet. His ingenuity is certainly on display in this episode as well, right? Oh my goodness, Dr. Margot coming in and kind of, you know, healing Heinkel as well, right? Though he's still a little bit injured. He's not completely healed. I'm not sure if he was completely healed, but clearly Dr. Margot did enough. But my goodness, Al is just a sight out there in the field, isn't he? At one point, the dude's riding a dragon. Of course, he's using alchemy to create this thing that looked like a dragon, but that sequence is just beautiful. Beautiful. And the thing is, you see that Al is going up against essentially the manifestation of pride, the physical manifestation of the sin of pride, and then an individual who ultimately only really cares about his own satisfaction at the end of the day. You know, I'll get to Kimberly because here you have a major death. Though ultimately, if I'm being honest, at this moment in time, it doesn't feel that I did see a major death. Yeah, more on that later, but you know, him going up against those two, you know, the opposite of his own ideals, essentially, right? I thought it was quite the fitting, you know, fight sequence. But I love this for Al, this moment that he gets, the spotlight that he gets here, right? Because a lot of times he does play a bit of a sidekick to Ed, doesn't he? But here it's all about Al, But yeah, I kind of just have to get to it now, you know, because I can't stop thinking about it. Let's kind of get into Kimberly, this major death that just happened in this episode. Now, you know, I said earlier, it's a major death that doesn't feel like a major death. And by that, I mean that I'm not entirely convinced that he's gone, like he's dead, like completely gone. And that was the end of him. Because, you know, you have Pride itself saying, you'll live on inside of me, right? I don't know, you know, something about that presentation just didn't feel like, oh, this is it. Kimberly's dead. To me, it didn't really feel like a fitting send-off. Though that being said, it actually could be by design that Kimberly specifically is given this death. So unceremonious, right? Because leading up to this, or perhaps even a long time ago, I've always had this notion or idea in my mind that Kimberly is probably going to get some kind of really interesting death, perhaps. Right? Because I've always felt that, you know, he is the type of character that is ultimately going to perish, as he appears to have done in this episode. And isn't it crazy? Isn't it crazy that at the end of the day, his own flawed, or his fatal flaw in his own philosophy ends up kind of getting him killed? So cold and calculated, and easily just tossing aside his subordinates, sacrificing his own men. And you see that ultimately one of those subordinates that he does toss aside and deems expendable comes back to essentially land the fatal blow, the final blow that puts him out for good. From the looks of it. Like I said earlier, I don't really feel like this is it for Kimberly, especially given the fact that Pride itself is saying you'll live on inside of me. So maybe something might happen down the line, in this final stretch at some point. With this character of Kimberly, perhaps. But yeah, you know, Pride, I suppose, you know, the gluttony inside of him couldn't resist, right? That insatiable hunger is a part of him as well now, right? They kind of focus on his lips, kind of licking his lips. So yeah, that aspect is certainly a part of him now. But much like how he kind of took on that insatiable hunger, and then of course the sense of smell, right? That incredible sense of smell that Gluttony had. Does he take on some of the abilities of Kimblee as well? Kimblee is a damn impressive alchemist, the Crimson Alchemist. And also, the imagery that is on display, he's certainly looking like the Crimson Alchemist at that point, right? But yeah, so is Pride able to take on that alchemy as well? I mean, if that is like this level up, this add-on that actually can be absorbed, whew, yeah, Pride just became even more formidable. I actually do think it's a combination of things, right? It could be the whole insatiable hunger aspect. It could be him trying to, take on that alchemy skill. And of course, the Philosopher's Stone, that's always handy. I mean, it kind of serves as this health boost for the homunculi, doesn't it? Right? Be it the Philosopher's Stone that Kimblee had, be it, and of course, Gluttony's own Philosopher's Stone as well, be it envy, absorbing the immortal soldiers, taking them on. Though I love how Mei Chang is kind of triggering envy into attacking the soldiers, right? She's clever. She's really clever on her feet as well. Her fighting style, it's so fluid and so dynamic, but it reminds me of like fight game characters. I can't quite, pinpoint who exactly she's reminding me of, that fight style. I mean, there's even a bit of Bruce Lee in there, I think. I think that might have been a bit of the inspiration for that fighting style and that stance. But also there's a case to be made here that he actually did like Kimblee, right? You see that he hesitates to attack the moment Heinkel puts him up front, right? And you see that Al is really quite surprised by it, right? He even said, oh, this is really quite unlike him, isn't it? So yeah, I think there is a chance. I think there's a possibility that he actually did like Kimblee. They did kind of seem to get on, didn't they? In that last episode, they seem to have this chemistry almost. So to me, him kind of lifting him up and kind of absorbing him, and essentially telling him that you'll live on inside of me, and I'll show you the world, this new world order, the new world that they plan on creating, right? The one that Kimblee has been so kind of fascinated by the notion of and the idea of, right? But look at that. Ultimately, he finds himself on the opposite side of that as well, right? The people he ends up siding with are the ones, or at least in this case, I suppose Pride, are the ones that end up using him and tossing him aside, much like he does with his own men. Yeah. Actually, if indeed that is the final time I see Kimblee, you can actually see how it is a bit of a fitting send-off. Yeah. So yeah, sure, maybe there is a bit of a possibility that he is trying to preserve this person that is Kimblee, right? But ultimately, I do think it's more so for selfish reasons. Him taking in someone like Kimblee, right? It's quite the power up, quite the level up, isn't it? The stone, and potentially taking on his alchemy abilities as well. That I have no idea about if that's a possibility or not. I guess I'll find out. But speaking of Kimblee, I love how in the middle of the fight, he's able to just stop it all and kind of engage in this discussion about philosophy, because he has been humble enough. They've established that a long time ago at this point, that he is humble enough to listen to the other side, to gain a different perspective, because he is fascinated by the other perspective, especially in this case as well, right? Because he sees Alphonse, and he sees that Alphonse actually has everything that he needs to fix his whole situation and fix his life. So to him, it's fascinating. And he really legitimately wants to know the thought process behind it all. And then, of course, the actual discussion itself. Al really questioning that it's not right that I have to, make the choice between, getting our bodies back or saving everyone or protecting everyone. He wants to live in a world that can allow you to kind of do both, to accomplish both, to pursue both, right? And you see for a moment, Kimblee is deep in thought. He is thinking about this, perhaps the rules of the world they live in can be rearranged. That once it is put into motion, it might become accepted as the new norm, right? So I love that scene. It's a beautiful scene. It really is. And this is that conundrum, this rock and hard place conundrum I kind of brought up episodes ago at this point, a long time ago in one of my discussions, that the brothers might find themselves in this type of situation. Get their bodies back or do something that's crucial in saving the world, or, you know, kind of making sure that this doesn't happen, that this stopping father. And I'm glad that it's being explored. I'm really glad. And I'm sure it's going to be leading into that much more as well, you know, as it does get into those final few episodes, really leading up to the final moments of this story. And then, of course, you have the Armstrong siblings going up against Sloth the Indolent. Man, Arakawa, you see that he is kind of forced into realizing his true potential, tapping into that potential that's been wasted this whole time. And of course, that's the whole point of this, right? Of this sin. And this is something else. This is some potential that's been ignored. Ultimately, maybe you can even describe it as laziness, right? To a self-destructive degree, even, right? But in terms of the actual potential, the strongest of the homunculi, right? Wow, he is just scary out there. Once he starts tapping into, there's this really funny line. It's like, you know, getting super serious or getting serious is an ultra bother, right? And he had to get serious. He did. I mean, if they didn't already have their hands full, now they have Sloth, right? The true potential of Sloth being unlocked as well. Jesus. But you see that the combined strength of the Armstrong siblings was able to hold it back for a time at least, because it seems to have regenerated. And yeah, they need to get out of there or kind of continue that fight, I suppose. So yeah, but that was just beautiful to see the two siblings fight side by side, and you see the concern that she does have for Alex. You know, that was clear. She, you know, it's a bit of tough love, but she cares about Alex. She does. You know, she's asking about his arm. Oh, it's just a dislocation. And then she said something as well, right? Oh, it's just a fracture, right? And it spits out that blood. It was great. It was just great to see them together like that. And Armstrong finally getting to flex, actually getting to flex his skills as well. It's been a long time since I've seen Armstrong do anything really. He's been on the sidelines for a long chunk of this. But yeah, I'm sure I'll get to see much more of Armstrong as well, Alex, that is, and then more of Olivier, who is, again, taking a head-on approach, trying to get through to these soldiers, right? Make them realize you're nothing to them. You're a pawn, right? They've made that clear for a long time as well to us, the audience, that they're being used and abused and tossed aside, right? They don't matter. Even these close circle higher ups didn't matter to Father, right? They're nothing. But yeah, it appears that her message is finally getting through to some of these men. But yeah, I think that does it for this one, folks. I mean, if this next phase of the anime, this final phase of the anime, or this final stretch is similar to this episode, it's about to be insanity. It's going to be crazy. This stretch is about to be mental from the looks of it already. And I'm excited. I'm here for that. Because it deserves this. This feels deserved. These fight sequences, these encounters, they feel that they have heft. The outcome means something. The stakes are as high as they've been in the entire series at this point. So yeah, it feels like it's been earned. And I'm going to enjoy it. I'm going to enjoy it because I certainly enjoyed this one. I really did. And if you enjoyed this, consider dropping a like, consider dropping some comments, give me your thoughts. If you're interested in the next few episodes right now, or perhaps even timer-based full length, consider checking out the Patreon page and perhaps supporting the channel. If you're interested, the links are in the description and the pinned comment. Also links to social media, Twitter and Instagram, if that's your thing. Right then, thank you so much for joining me, folks, and thank you for your time, because time's precious. It really is. And I do hope to see you again soon for episode 53. Until then, take it easy.